All right, folks, a live show coming to you tonight for BMF Season 3, Episode 7, where this episode is titled Get 'em Home. Hope you all are ready to get into it. Let's hit that intro video and get the festivities going. What's up, good people? Lucas and Niger here from Big Old Belt Media. As I said, we're here to jump into BMF Season 3, Episode 7, our official recap and review show, where this episode is written by Jeff Dix and directed by the man himself, Russell Hornsby. Yes, folks, we are late to the schedule, but nonetheless, we're here to give you that show live. We had a busy week, and that ain't important to go over why and all that other good stuff. You follow the socials, you already know. But if not, doesn't matter, because we're here to do what we do. And we have a life too. So for all the
that's fine.
my
business. That's the line. We was on business.
We was on business, and we stood on it too. We stood on all of it. But no, seriously, we're definitely excited to be with you live this week. We don't know what we're going to do next week just yet. But nonetheless, since we're behind schedule, we figure we'll get it out for you all live. And when you're live, that means you could get in the chat and be a part of the show, which first person up to bat tonight, rightfully pundit, right, is Courtney Harris. What's up, guys? What's up with you, man? Appreciate you coming through. 7th episode was fired. Listen, Lucas, we eyed this episode pretty early in the season. Russell's our guy. Seeing that he's coming out directing his first episode of BMF, definitely had my and our full attention. How would you assess his directorial debut?
This was an interesting episode. I mean, it's a lot moving on, especially when we get to see the Meech in St. Louis. We get to see T struggling to lead, and then, clearly, we get to see Lucille do her thing with the doctor in the car. Even the cool with the little boyfriend that's going around. It's a lot going on with this family,
It's a lot to make with that. Hey, we got a lot of fam pulling up tonight, so we're definitely going to get right to you all's comment. Our admin here, because when you like, day ones, and you support us in everything we do, every show, every genre, you get to be that guy. AO Productions, what's up, BGB? What's up with you, homie? Share my love. Hey, Nigerian Lucas, love the channel. We love you too. Thank you for coming through tonight. By the way, if Lucas' girlfriend pulls up in this chat, we're gonna have a good old time tonight. Gabriel Knight, excuse me. What's good, brothers? New subscriber, just enjoying the show. We absolutely appreciate you coming through with the subscription. We have fun. We love you all. Denise C, hey guys. Oh yeah, yeah. We'll see. DeMarcus Vaughn, welcome back. What's good, Big Gold Belts? I actually like that. I think you may be actually the first person to ever label us as the Big Gold Belts with a S. I actually kind of like that. Queen, Sweet November 79. Hey, it's my guys. Long time no see. Same to you. Appreciate you coming through on this lovely Sunday afternoon. KJW2. This was an interesting episode, aka a not too great one all over the place. We're definitely gonna break it down. I have some thoughts about it for sure.
Yeah.
And for the last one before we get into the episodes, hugs and kisses, new subby. Hey, how are y'all in chat? Appreciate you coming through, and cheers back at you. So yeah, again, episode 7, Get 'em Home. We already talked about Russell Hornsby directing the show. Russell Hornsby, if you don't know, is no other than Charles Flenory. So fantastic actor. And to see him get a chance to direct on his own show was definitely going to be, I'm interested in that. I'll say this, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I'm not mad at it. I want to see more. It's definitely a change of pace, but he's a new director here, so it definitely doesn't feel like your traditional BMF episodes, but nonetheless, there's definitely some interesting developments that happen in it. And
Definitely.
Coming in at episode 7, definitely not an easy job, because for a lot of reasons. One, because when you crescendo down to the episode finale, 8, 9, and 10, you have to place us, and you also have to almost there's so many baseball analogies in this episode, but you kind of do have to set the next person up to bat. You kind of do got to
base runner up.
You do got to bunt. You absolutely kind of bunt, because you need the episode 8 to come through and swing for the fence. And they swing for the fence. That's a whole run for the rest, for not only what you just did, but for the rest of the season. So I'm not mad at it at all. Definitely want to see him back more in the directorial seat. Let's start right off on the beginning of the episode, because we see Detective Brian, who I play baseball, so I can say this, gave the worst bunt of all time as he was mentoring young Meech. That's something that now makes, because obviously we've seen Coach Bryant will say at this rate pretty early in the season. We always knew they had some type of relationship, but it's interesting to see how far apart they have grown now. Because they're on opposite ends of the table because of job, but Brian's always been a street dude, so it's kind of interesting. What did you think or make of that very quick scene of Coach Brian and young Meech?
It put in place the relationship they had in season 1, where Bryant was technically a partner with Meech, making sure everything ran right. So we see here with him mentoring the young Meech. I wonder, do you say that he owes some responsibility for the way the boy was brought up? We know how powerful coaches are in kids' lives, and he can't just like throw it out there like you didn't have an impact on this kid's life. And maybe that's why Meech is the way he is, and maybe that's him in this clip, like them looking back on it and saying, "This is how this relationship started, and look where they're at now." As we progress from season 1 to season 3, and we see the difference and the divide between the two, you're wondering like, what made you turn, or what made this kid turn against you? Like that's the good key thing here. He still don't like T, but him and Meech's relationship is a little different than T.
And I thought like maybe that's T on the sideline. It wasn't T, because T's younger, but he wouldn't have been that much significantly taller than him at that rate, just because that's just how
you thought it was T on the sideline, like, hey, I got this. Just sit
but
I always hated him.
For real. And I will get to some of y'all chats. We're gonna get through a little bit of the episodes and we'll get back to it. Obviously, if you are generous enough to super chat, we'll definitely prioritize that. But nonetheless, we're just here to have fun, and everybody get in the comments, show love to one another, because we are the Big Gold Belts family, as DeMarcus Vaughn has proclaimed us.
As long as my theme music is Cody, we fine. I'm good with that.
Let you hear it a couple of times, and now you ready to finish your story.
Hey, never heard the song a day before in my life. All of a sudden, I'm just, wow, I don't know what the hell's going on, Jim.
So quickly after that, we see in St. Louis, and this is where we get reintroduced to J-Pusha and Carter. Obviously, they met at the oh my God, what's the name of it? The convention in Atlanta.
Rapper Jack.
Yes, Jack the Rapper. There we go. Family Affair. Yep. So we always knew that. And the story, we knew they were at some point going to go to St. Louis. But that introduction is why we're here now, because the expansion. Plus, it was getting a little hot in Atlanta, so this meant it's just the perfect time. So we get reintroduced back to Carter and J-Pusha. I do love how they hyped up Carter as being a baseball player, that they actually made him look good at on the mound there, throwing a little bit of heat. And we know that Meech got a little baseball blood in him too. So like seeing that, like even Meech can acknowledge that. It's small storytelling details that I really appreciated with that. But man,
storytelling details in St. Louis.
Yeah, true that. True that. I love, so while we get a lot about Carter. Man, I love how much we get about J-Pusha because that dude is a hothead and
Man,
no rationale to that guy. But we have to make sure that we give the most. You know, you had yours, now I have mine because we get our first look and introduction to Keeya, who is played by the fantastic, the best actor in the world.
Look here.
Sweetie.
Hey,
now that we mentioned that, is there anything else y'all want to talk about tonight?
I mean, we could talk about that.
That's it. Nope, we get in the show. We can just end it.
That little twerk over the mound she did. Like that was just out of nowhere. So Meech, you play baseball, and then all of a sudden she just started twerking. I said, "Oh wow, that is an introduction there."
Yeah, I will say this really quickly because I don't know at what point I wanted to say this. I will say that the whole Keeya and Meech thing that was easily foreshadowed by his wandering eyes, they didn't build that at all. They just were they were just messing with each other.
Through that, Joe. Like, that is...
Yeah, they made that really quick.
Somebody posted online like, "Damn, she gave up the draws to Meech in one day in St. Louis. Ain't no way she gonna survive." Oh, it was so fast.
Hey,
it was so fast.
It was.
Hey,
it was.
Meech got a type on the show. Clearly,
anyone?
Yeah.
I was gonna say anyone who looks at him. It's his type, I guess, right? Oh man, y'all got some good comments coming in. I gotta get to the. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
I said outside of Cash Doll. You know, she's a one of a kind. Yeah, she one of a kind, Joe.
So yeah, with that, we got the title screen, we got super chat, so we hit to that, and then we get back to the show in the comments real quick. DeMarcus Vaughn at the $2 super chat, greatly appreciated. Who do you all think called CPS on Terry and LaWanda? That is still one of the biggest questions right now.
It still says Brian.
I think it's Brian too.
I'm almost 100% sure it's Brian now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the thought that most people had was Markeisha, but I don't think so. I don't think that's not the way she clearly in this episode we see the way she would move. So CPS wouldn't be what she would have done. So I'm still sticking with I'm thinking it was Brian that did it.
I agree. I will say I was like 90% Brian, 10% Markeisha. I sound about 15% on Markeisha now because seeing her digging through his things let me know that they're not giving us a full dimensional picture of the type of woman she truly is. And
I mean, she's a woman. You're not gonna have like papers laying around the house and she ain't gonna snoop to try to find out what the hell is going on. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
You out here buying new Dodge Caravans for people. You know, well, one owner Dodge Caravans for people. You don't think Markeisha gonna pick up on that? What year they in this joint? They in like 92, 93? That was a 1990 Dodge Caravan.
That joint probably had the wood panel on the side. Did they show it? They only brought the keys, right?
Nah, they only brought the keys. But LaWanda wasn't even worth a new car. Markeisha got a whole ass house. And she got a 2-year-old car.
Well, Markeisha did a hostile takeover on that house because that was not her house, but she said it was though. Hey, but listen, the Dodge Caravan with the wood panel on the side, if you didn't have the Jeep Cherokee, that was the next best thing. All right, people was out here stunting with those things. New York was a different scene back in the day.
My daddy had one. It was a red Dodge Caravan. I used to think that was the coolest car, and it was like a 91. I used to think that was the coolest car in the world, Joe. You couldn't tell me shit when that door slid back. You're like, oh shit.
Hey yo, you listen. If you had to take a road trip, there was no better way than riding.
Hey, nah, the best way was the conversion van.
Oh,
I had one of those too, a blue conversion van with the bed in the back. Come on, bro. Come on. I'm looking for one more fuckers right now. If I give me a conversion van right now, just understand, ain't nothing holy happening in that van.
Let her jump in the chat. It's a wrap. Let's get so we get the title screen here. But then after that, we go back to the Terry division of BMF as they're at the restaurant, and we see everybody's ready to ride for Diz, and they're bringing all the guns. Uncle Rodney had a whole stack of them, but Terry's not feeling this. He's not ready to handle it with the iron. But I will say that understanding that Henry wearing his jacket is definitely a measure of disrespect I don't even think I would have been cool with. And to that degree, I kind of see, all of the BMF folks. I can see why they're ready to ride. They lost their homie, and like this is a blatant measure of disrespect. But T says I'm gonna go above, talk to Blaze, have that one-on-one meeting, and we're gonna handle it that way. As we and on Terry's side, you said like, man, we had a gentleman's agreement per se.
Yeah.
What's the deal? So on this note, man, what did you think about Terry's decision to continue to go with it in his route? You mentioned earlier about there's potentially some conflict about him being the leader and being able to operate this side of BMF. So now you got your soldiers there that's not seeing and buying into his philosophy, his planning. But nonetheless, he decides to execute it that way. What did you think of that? And ultimately, with that, did you think this could have been, what's the analogy you say? What that breaks the camel's back?
Yeah.
The straw that breaks the camel's back? The hay? Something. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I'll say this. T broke street code right there. And that was weird to me that they show it this way, because we already know there's a divide between him and the crew where they don't believe he's Meech. Not only do they not believe he's Meech, we saw Meech do a complete 360 from what Terry did when someone rolled down on the crew in Atlanta. And this is their difference here. Terry is attempting to plot forward and plot a way around it so there's no violence involved. But you got to understand, you in the business where it's kind of mandatory to have violent moments. And Henrietta did that because she wanted to be as disrespectful as humanly possible. Because you walk around with the man jacket after you set him on fire. You're walking around with his jacket. And Terry got the wolves at the door, and all he can say is basically, hold up, I want to go above her head to try to make a deal. That's not going to make them happy, though. At all, because it's like, dog, she killed one of us, and you're telling us you want to make a deal? Like, what sense does that make? But this is the difference between Meech and T. T tries to plan everything out, as we see the way his plan comes to fruition later on in an episode, versus Meech would have just went directly at Henrietta and tried to take her out immediately, which would have made the crew happy. I think that's the balance we got to see from T, is him not overthinking things and understanding if you keep on overthinking things, eventually they will turn against you.
Yeah. Let me get to one particular comment here in terms of Big O Belt Media programming here. Are y'all replaced by wrestling every Thursday now? No, we had business trip. And so we just wasn't available. It didn't work. It just didn't work out. So we're back to the normal programming next week, and we are going to religiously be back to our schedules for remaining shows and other projects and so on. So bear with us, but that's okay.
Once in a while with y'all, even after the show, just to have a conversation, because that's the fun part of it all.
Yeah, and we still, the wrestling podcast for any wrestling folks, we still got that 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all socials as well. So yeah, but you know this once.
If you're not on the Twitter, because I'm older, the Twitter or the X, and you see what we was doing this week, just stay tuned to the channel. You're gonna see some stuff dropping from this week to better give y'all an explanation of why we weren't able to record this week.
To that point though, y'all let us know in the comments. Do you think Terry was right to go to Blaze to discuss this, or should he had rode for Diz with the homies and retaliate in the same fashion? Shoot up the block. The Loy Low show is in the comments spazzing on her.
I am
Does
sick.
not like
Oh,
Harry at
the
all.
Lloyd show also asked me what I was drinking. It's a cognac, but until they sponsor, I won't say their name. But yes, that's and she right. You know what? That's what makes a great character. When you absolutely hate someone,
Yeah.
that means they are knocking it out the park, because that's the goal with a character like Henrietta, is for you to hate her. So I
Yeah.
think I think she's like, again, amping it up every week. I'm starting to hate like how soft Terry's coming across here. More than Henrietta, I'm hating how soft Terry's coming across here, because he has not put his foot down yet. And that's why she's getting more and more empowered, because he refuses to.
Yeah. Yep. So what do we got now? So after that though, we see did I miss this part too? Did I I'm trying I'm because I've totally forgot about this before the tie screen, because I was like, wait, we have to mention that my man Carter got snagged up here. But with that, this is where we start to really get and tap into J-Pusha, who at one point just looked like he was a connect in St. Louis. Meech come through, I'm gonna take care of you, to evolving into something a lot more. And this man, J-Pusha, automatically assumed that it was Ray, some character named Ray, that got his brother, and he's ready to ride. Meech is like, oh, wait a minute. How do you even know it's him? You know? So we got somebody jumping to conclusions, and he's basically riding, saying he's basically banking off of the idea that, like, I run St. Louis, they got my brother. I think it's this person. Let's go handle what we got to do. But only to find out too that when they get there, that it's not. It's some other folks. Believes they was Booker or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Two irrelevant folks, I guess, because I don't.
Did you call
I
them
don't
two
feel like they're
irrelevant
gonna.
folks?
I think so. I don't think they're gonna pay dividends anywhere down the line. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but whatever. But they took Carter because they had got some weight from J-Pusha, and the weight wasn't worth nothing, so they lost out money in the weight. So in order to get that back, they said they're gonna get their brother. Before we,
go ahead.
Yeah. Before I give it to you, I was gonna say, at the same time too, these folks aren't even fully convinced that their plan is gonna work. So they're kind of winging this whole operation of taking this brother to get their money back, because they got somebody else that they got to give the money to. And we'll talk about that other person in a second, because maybe that other person becomes a factor at some point, but I don't know. But Meech very much has explained to him, do not let pride get in the way. This question is for you, Lou, and everybody in the comments.
Oh, shit.
Does Meech have enough stored credibility to tell anybody to not let pride get in the way? And what did you think about J-Pusha? And you can either talk about in this very moment or just the entirety of the episode. What did you think about this introduction of a formidable force in St. Louis, and how he's going about getting his brother, because at this point, two unknowns kidnapped him for ransom?
I'll start off with Meech first. Okay. Does he have the credibility to tell somebody not to think it out, basically? Yes. Because even when Meech is hot-headed, it's still with a thought behind it. J-Pusha wasn't thinking about nothing. He has to be the worst leader ever. One, how you the leader? How you say I run St. Louis and you selling dummies to folks in the streets? And dummies is when you sell drugs, and it's not really all drugs, and it's something else, and people notice that. Like, that's what he's out here selling. He out here moving dummies because he didn't have real weight. You can't be this king of St. Louis if you don't have real weight. Like, you set yourself up. And Meech was 100% right. At that point, cut the deal. You risked your brother's life for your pride. That's the difference between him and Meech. Meech would have never risked Terry's life for his pride. He'd have put that shit aside. He'd have gave them what they wanted, and then he would have went to kill them. J-Pusha out this Joe like, nah, bring him back now, or I'm gonna kill you. Like, I don't have this little nigga right in front of me, and you're threatening me. Like, I feel that they didn't go far enough with Carter. That was the problem. Fuck a finger. You're gonna get his hand. And I'm gonna ask him, what hand do you throw baseballs with? because that's the one I'm gonna send to your mama. Like
Yeah.
you gotta, and this is why they didn't have a good plan, is because they didn't know or they weren't prepared to go far enough to have J-Pusha react. It wasn't gonna ever be enough for a finger because he's an idiot. That's never going to be enough. So you send a hand, a toe, a foot, something that really would make your mama cry. Your mama, they mama clearly hood, because after they got the finger, she told them kill them all. So a finger wasn't gonna do it here.
The
But
mom.
you gotta send something of her baby that's gonna make her say, give them whatever the fuck they want. Like they just sent my baby foot in a box. You know how drastic that is to send a nigga foot in a box or a whole hand?
Yeah.
And I would have put a baseball mitt on it. You'd have known that's his baseball hand. Give me my money. But again, this is the pride issue with J-Pusha. And this is why he is not a good leader in any aspect. I think this whole episode just exposed how weak of a person he is. That his first thought is his pride.
That's as far as you're going?
Over family, over everything. He's like, he's a horrible leader. That's all that popped into my head. Was he's like Roman the Conqueror on Guardians of the Galaxy. He's gonna lead you absolutely nowhere and then blame you for it. Like he was willing to blame everyone else for his mistakes, and he never realized it. And that's the problem with him. If I'm Meech, how can you be my partner in St. Louis? You're gonna fuck all my business up because you're gonna be too emotional about everything.
Yeah. I think, while I fully agree with everything, I would go even further in saying St. Louis looks to be a lot in turmoil here.
Yeah.
Because you got two folks that are basically corner boys that thought that they were going to get they thought they were going to get an appropriate response from J-Pusha, who's supposedly supposed to be one of the top dogs in St. Louis, and they don't have a full plan, but they figured this will be a way to muster out money from them. That just doesn't even make sense at all. It just tells me that there is a lot of opportunity for BMF expansion there. But there's also a lot of hotheads who could be bad for business, but there damn sure ain't no legitimate business partners out there that's worth anyone's time. And that's just how it is. And they said if J-Pusha's, well, I gotta look down in my notes somewhere, but they said something about if J-Pusha is what he is, then this other person, wherever it's at in my notes, we'll get to in a second. Oh, Money Mook. They say he's 10 times worse. That doesn't sound good at all.
That's the key part. J-Pusha's run around saying, I run St. Louis, and they literally said, no, it is a bigger threat than you that we're more worried about. That's the problem right there. So you think it's a possibility where he may think he runs St. Louis. And that's even worse. If he just thinking, or if he just talking big to Meech, like, man, I run this. He stacks, basically. You up here talking big and bad like you run something, and you got Glock over you like, no, I'll kill all of you. Because they're clearly like, we're more scared of the guy who we made the deal with than we are with J-Pusha and taking his brother. That's a sign of disrespect. Because I'm telling you, I don't respect you. I don't fear you. I fear that other nigga responding to me. They didn't fear J-Pusha till he put $100 grand on their head. Like at that point, I fear everybody because you put $100 grand on my head. But I kidnapped your brother, and no fear was struck on what you would do to me, because I'm terrified of what another man's going to do to me. There you go.
There's some great comments in there. That one. What? I could read it, but I'll probably just try to stay out of my own business, I guess.
There you go.
KJW2. Imposter syndrome in the streets is wild. Literally asking to be killed. Like,
hey, that's the biggest problem going on around here. What my man Rick say today, white boy? You talking tough, white boy? You ain't got no work in those Louis V's. Like, imposter syndrome is big, bro. You gotta be aware of it, especially if you're gonna be in that game. You got to be aware that you shouldn't listen to everybody. Everybody the man in their own city to them.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody playing. You ain't never heard a nigga say, man, nah, I'm like a little fish here. Nah. They gonna hype it up like I'm the big dog here. I'm the man who runs everything. You found out that he a corner boy.
Yep.
Or you
We
didn't
get
work
to
on consignment repeatedly.
we get to the Flenory house now, and there is a flower delivery. Charles is there to answer the door. And when he answers the door, looks down, he takes the flowers, brings it in, reads the card. The card is definitely first of all, definitely Charles did not order these. He already know what it is. He has a look in his eyes. At this point now, Charles is getting ready to make a choice. He's either about to be, and actually, let me finish summing up. I'll talk about that in a second. But he reads the card. Lucille comes downstairs, looks at the flowers. She immediately says, "All Charles," but Charles let her know about the state comment from the card, and they just get to arguing. They're throwing shots at one another. But I will say this though, because these writers, man, they very much they knew if you knew, you knew. And I know I ain't gonna even put you on blast, but I'll just leave it alone.
Oh man, what? Whoa,
She made a comment that says, "I am my own damn woman. I done gave everything to everybody, and I ain't got nothing left." Where did that line come from?
Oh, you did put me on the spot because I don't know.
Queen Ramonda from Black Panther.
No, Queen Ramonda said, "I have given everything."
Hey yo, I said, now hold up now. They try to get Lucille her Oscar moment.
Hey, look here, Lucille, right though. Lucille, I'm gonna say this name right. Low Show said it right. Lucille sick of everybody, Joe. She said, "Fuck all y'all. I'm tired. I'm tired of being mama. I'm grandmama." Lucille done been working at Wendy's forever. Like forever. Charles ain't had a job in God knows how long. He up here writing
GM shirt. He's
shit.
working. He's putting it
Where
back
he
together, man. He back at General Motors, man.
Now,
But
Lucille,
right now they're in Wakanda. That's all I know.
Lucille said you should be doing more. Lucille is tired. She made too many whoppers that day, and she's like, "You know the fuck what? You know the fuck what? You're not gonna speak to me this way, damn it." His doctor gave her a filet mignon. Filet mignon, because you know it's the 80s, and I'd say filet mignon. Filet mignon. You up here mad because you can't get me a pot pie. Nigga, no.
Hey, yeah, they are, man. This is the wildest scene of all of the 50 Cent
scene
show.
from Black Panther out my goddamn head like 3 months ago. Now I'm gonna be going around saying, "I have given everything."
I cannot believe. I cannot
man.
believe. But let's talk about Charles really quickly. Charles had a moment where he could have took the card and said, "These are from me," but he decided to keep it 100. When Charles said it later on in the episode that this is a honest home, I instantly looked to really remove his credibility from that statement. And obviously they've been through a lot of stuff, and obviously things are still kind of happening, but it seems like Charles is truly trying to turn the page on things and bring it back together.
Yeah.
Did you feel what he did was honorable, or did it at any point sway your opinion about Charles? As we were told earlier in the comments that Charles has a nickname that runs on the internet. Is where did it go? I mean,
Raw Dog Charles.
Raw Dog Charles. Is it safe to just turn him back to Brother Charles at this rate?
Here's the problem, right? You can't mess up in a relationship, have the person you with telling you the relationship is over, and then you say, "I'm gonna win you back." That don't quantify. Lucille has been honest. Right after she found out you fucked Mabel against the wall while you're supposed to be fixing drywall, she said it's over. She wanted Charles out. He said, "I'm not going anywhere." She put him in Terry's room. Yeah, she fucked him, but she fucked him because she think about the doctor because she's rubbing on the doctor card and she's having sex with Charles. But she has never wavered from the fact that we're not together. I think that's the problem here. Charles does things like he wants people to forget that he cheated. Your marriage was fine until you did what you did. This is the consequence. This is the payback in a way. Like, you got to deal with this. Like, yes, this suitor, this doctor's only in the picture because you fucked up. The doctor, Lucille wouldn't have looked at him at all if you didn't do what you did. Because you did what you did, now you got a threat.
Let me ask that. Let me frame that to the audience real quick. If Charles had not messed around with Mabel, would Lucille be at all entertaining the rich, high school, the one that got away, Dr. Montclair? Would she have been looking at him at all? Because I frame it in that way. I just quickly answer is because while Lucille does not appear to be that woman, but considering all the financial struggles, that was truly the theme of season 1 to half of season 2, that the financial struggles really started to divide in the household. Charles couldn't bring in the money. He invested so much into Charles Flenory, the Flenory business. Limousine business, and that didn't go the way it did. But, she was stressed out. She was tired of flipping those Whoppers. Or where's she at? She has Wendy's. Those Junior Bacon. She was done. Yeah, she was done with that, and taking all that extra meat and putting it inside that chili that you shouldn't eat. No Diddy.
We're not gonna play Lucille like that. Lucille was getting her straight Mary J. Blige on. I was your lover and your secretary, working every day of the week. Like, she was there. Lucille was fine being Florida Evans. She'd have been broke forever.
Yeah.
For Charles.
Yeah.
She prayed to God. She kept on saying, God gonna make a way. We're gonna get here. We're gonna do this. And in the meantime, Charles done fucked Mabel raw about 3 times. And then you brought that heifer into Lucille's house knowing what you did. That's the problem here. Once that trust is broken, she like, oh, nah, we're not together no more. Like, stop. You're throwing these feelings. He's throwing these feelings out to her like she's supposed to give him a second chance.
Yeah.
Once a person show you who you are, who they are, believe them. And that's what Lucille's like. We were struggling, and I was still by your side. And you did this to me. It ain't gonna get better.
Facts.
Like,
facts.
I think that's it. Just it with Lucille. She's like, hey, I've given my life to everybody. I've been the perfect mother. I've been a perfect home taker. I done made the best fries Wendy has ever sold in their life. And yet still, if we pay attention to it, everybody steps over Lucille. Everybody. And she's just fed up now. And the doctor is the only piece of happiness that she can get. I'm championing her and the doctor for that reason. We still need to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish once in a while. If Stella can get her groove back, Lucille can get hers back.
Hey, we're keeping an eye out on the comments. Continue to keep them going. We're going to keep flowing with the show. We'll get to comments in a minute. Again, any super chats, we'll definitely prioritize those. But you all are absolutely right with some of the statements being made there. I just to quickly cap off, Charles not taking the flowers and using them for his own definitely turned a positive towards me for Charles. I think Charles instantly would have said like, oh, these mine. Here you go, baby. Because I mean, she would have loved him and it would have been game, but he decided to there's a part of me thinking like maybe he wants to be admiral, but the other part of me is like, but also I think he wants to leverage that she's wrong too without him taking accountability for his actions in the first place.
I think that's it. Either that or he knew the doctor eventually was going to call and tell her, I sent you flowers. And she going to be like, oh, this broke ass nigga done claimed my flowers from the doctor.
He didn't think that far. That man ain't think that far. You know that.
Hey, he wrote a whole song for Lucille. Ain't no telling how far he's thinking at this point.
They're back at the restaurant now, and we get Blaze coming in for the 101. This was nothing. This was absolutely nothing besides them saying that there is no solution. No. They're because of the issue that happened, because they can't agree on what's this going to be going forward. They're just at foes. But Terry does slide him something. What do you think that was?
No, he slided him back the gift that Blaze brought him.
Oh, true that.
Yeah. Blaze brought him the gift. Said this is for the baby.
Yeah.
And Terry gave it back because for some odd reason, Terry thought Blaze would agree to take out his own daughter. Like, what sense would that make?
I mean, take her out, put her in timeout, whatever it may be. Who knows?
Nah, ain't doing none of it. That's my kid. In the end, we ain't see James St. Patrick take Tariq out one time.
Yeah, he did. He tried. And Tommy did too. Tommy did too.
Tommy tried. But what all Ghost did was go to his bedside, wake the fuck up, little nigga. He did not try to kill him, though. He tried to scare him.
He tried to kill his boy. Anywho, we get back to Jay Blaze mama house because they're waiting for the folks to bring back Carter, but instead they get a finger with blood. And mama ain't go to church this Sunday because she said kill them. And her name, of course, is Esther. This all checks all the boxes. You meet an extra in St. Louis, you might want to go the other way. But Meech is coming up with a plan, talking about he got pure weight, and he feels like pure weight could be the leverage to bring Carter back. I will say this: when Meech started to like really develop his plan, it almost felt insensitive. Did you ever think that at all?
In a way, it did, but he's trying to be logical about everything. I think that's the problem. Meech is like, hey, like we're going at it the wrong way, and J-Pusha is just not trying to hear none of it. So yeah, it comes across as insensitive because he's the only one thinking at this moment. You know, Esther done rolled up a J, and she want everybody dead because she got that finger back.
You think she smoked the J? She smoked the Black and Mild, and damn near. She smoked it all the way to the plastic.
This is early 90s. Was it a Black or was it Benson Hill? Or did she have a Newport 100? she had that same cigarette Monique had when she told Precious, "Look here, you fat bitch." That's the same cigarette Esther was smoking when she got mad at the finger coming back to her. But again, it comes across as insensitive for Meech just because he's thinking of the bigger picture. Like, man, bodies in the street in a war ain't good for business. Yeah. Technically, nor is it good for getting back Carter because we don't know how they're going to respond to it.
Yeah. Let me read the funniest comment of right now.
No. Tamala, MD too. MD. So you the other doctor. Look here. Lucille took that credit card from Sears because she was trying to show off to her family. So she didn't want her family to know how broke they were. She's fine being broke. She ain't fine with her family knowing just how broke Charles is. So she took that out. She got her nice little dress from Sears, and the interest rate was 86%. But she got to show.
So what year is it? Because she's still paying off on it. 2025.
Hey, nigga, that's like a finger hut. That's like having a finger hut credit card. It's having a Sears credit card. Like, you'll never pay that off, Joe.
Let me answer this question because somebody's still waiting. So excuse me. We're sorry we held you up on a season 1 question. The reason why you don't know the answer to this question is because this has always been a very high speculated thing in terms of who did it, because they don't know. Yeah. It's a development about what happened with the eye, but there was never a true confirmation in terms of who did it. So they shot it in a speculative way that they never confirmed who it was. That's why. That's why you just can't Google it in a way of like who did it. And there's rumors, and obviously BMF folks have done interviews forever. Also, T's been in jail for a little while, and also T is out of jail, and also really isn't talking much about anything. He's just kind of chilling. Doesn't even come to the premieres or anything. He's just kind of chilling, man. He missed out on time. Man. He got kids.
Atlanta last year. Detroit. I'm sorry, he came to the one in Detroit last year, but that was it.
Yeah, and that wasn't even a premiere. I mean, that wasn't like the traditional premiere. That was like, hey, episode 1. Yeah, family rolled up, they rolled out. They didn't do like a party and all that stuff. So
I'm gonna show up to every premiere though.
Now this is wild right here. This is wild.
My bad.
The way how my mom had me in Sears and Landover, I got some questions now because rest in peace, Landover Mall, by the way.
hey, Landover Mall is the most evil mall in the world, Joe.
Yeah.
And yes, we all
Jericho
went to that STARZ there, Joe. That Sears there.
they built Landover Mall had to fall for Jericho to be born. That's literally what happened. God won that one. We gotta stay on track. Y'all not gonna come back no more. Anyway, they get the call from the crew that got them, and this is Jay Blaze letting them know, like, nah, this ain't good. We're firing back. It's a press on y'all head. Y'all dead man running. And Meech is telling him to calm down, but he's not. But Keeya is kind of observing everything, kind of seeing how Meech is moving, but also let Meech know that's kind of how Jay is and so on. So, like, just again, they're trying to derive a plan in order to get Carter back. Meech calls T because, and I mean, hopefully this is very clear that they're talking in code in order to get 10 bricks over to St. Louis, because if he gets the pure weight, and to me it's two things, and I don't think like Meech didn't say it, but like if you could read between the lines, you should kind of know what Meech is up to here. Not only is this a move to get Carter back, but this is definitely a move to get his product on the street. He has the purest they've ever seen. This is, I mean, the divide is night and day, considering that these folks knew how bad Jay Blaze, who apparently runs St. Louis, stuff is. Yeah, J-Pusha. I keep calling Jay Blaze J-Pusha. Yeah. But like, is this no different than what they just did in Atlanta, where they said put it all out?
Same thing. And that's what Meech's goal was. It's like, hey, one, if we get this weight out, as he said, it's the purest they've ever had. And J-Push out here moving that Kurt Franklin, and that shit ain't working. So if you can step on it a couple of times and it still be better than what J-Push put out, that's a hell of a profit. Like, that's Meech's thinking, is like, dog, we need to get this product out here, and it'll help get Carter back. Everything could be fine. And instead, J-Pusha turns into Screwface. Like, I want them dead. I want them all dead. Like, no thought process at all. And that's the problem there. Is that, again, it's the pride aspect of it with him. Like, he's like, this shouldn't have happened because I'm the king. And Meech is giving him an out, and he's not listening to the out, not one bit. So,
yeah. To the Lloyd Lane show, when Meech comes home, man, I ain't gonna even lie. I'm even worried we might not get invited. That might be the biggest.
Hey, look, we go, but we all, you already know. Mama gonna show up. Mama shows up. The kids show up. Everybody shows up, but T doesn't show up.
Yeah, and Lil T was there and everything.
Meech probably be like, nah, this ain't the environment to be in. But that don't mean there ain't gonna be after party, something. One of them cities that they throw this thing in, or they may do what they did in season 2 and throw it in multiple locations at one time.
Yeah. This is a good comment here. KJW2 roll that back in like a little bit. So matter of fact, I could just keep that right there. Anyway, so what we got next? Oh, so Jen. Man, first of all, Kelly Hu has got to get praise for her performance as Detective Jen. And this is just a moment where we see Jen, who is just basically looking down bad. Obviously, Detective Kobe's death has really affected her. That was somebody that had grown to be her sister. And she's at a point where she's sitting in the house in the dark. She's not cleaning up or taking care of herself. And this is the thing. Kelly has been around for years, y'all, if you don't know. So Kelly is naturally gray. And that means when you see Kelly in gray naturally, she looks bomb as fuck, right? The fact that like you see this is the depiction of when she is herself, but obviously just not take care of herself and down. Like, this shows you just really the transformation of her portrayal of Detective Jen just being down. It's a lot of story being told without even saying any words, but she's not there to pick up for herself. Her father's there. She lets her father know that in case I don't tell you I love you, it's definitely like almost a declaration of folks realizing that like they're in the deep moment of depression, broken. and even to the point that she admits that she doesn't do everything right. What did you think about Detective Jen? This is the first time we've seen her since everything had went down, her being suspended, losing Kobe, just in the best, almost died damn near too. Got to throw that in there. But what did you think about this?
That when she told her father she loved him, that wasn't what she wanted to say. I think she wanted to spill her guts on a lot of other stuff when he compared her to her sister, and she said, "I'm not that innocent." It's clearly other stuff that she wants to tell him, but she settled on, "I love you. If I don't tell you enough, I love you." I think she was about to break completely, and she was able to pull it back and be like, "Okay, I'm not going to break here and tell him everything I want to tell him."
Which
So
is
it's
the self-harming, that we see.
Yep.
We've seen in previous episodes, but we also see that Henry picks up on it instantly.
Yeah.
With the lighter to the wrist.
Yep.
But continue.
But that was the key part. I mean, she wanted to break and tell him more. This is just a great scene right here of seeing her just completely broken. Because again, to rise up from it, not to sound like Maya Angelou, but to rise from it as a phoenix, you have to break first, have to fall apart first. And that's what we see from Jen here, is just her completely broken. Right after Amberson's service to, this is her response to it. Like, possibly still blaming herself for everything.
Yeah.
And then she wants to tell her dad everything. And they'll say, "I can't tell him everything, but just know I love you." It's a deep scene.
And I was going to say, and there's definitely some survivor's remorse going on here. So, getting to LaWanda, her mother, and Lucille. First of all, they're in this house. Everybody's just giving Dr. Montclair all his flowers. We wouldn't have no baby if it wasn't. Listen, let me tell you something about LaWanda's mom, Desiree. Desiree might as well be why I can't think of the name. Rock, Lou, and
they mama.
Yep. Because if she ain't getting a handout, she ain't trying to hear it.
None of parts of it, Joe.
The fact that her daughter had a baby at the home, which just came out of nowhere, and there's like, "Nah, baby, we've been having babies before and after this." Like, it's like, that's not the point here. Your daughter had a baby. But again, she keeps the attention on herself. She makes it about self. I love this very selfish personality from her. But that's where we get our little comedy bites here. But nonetheless, yeah. So T comes in. LaWanda is just frying him up and right. But this is truly about like establishing that T does not need to schedule visitation for his child. But LaWanda bounces back saying it ain't even about the money or the presence. It's about your presence. And even with that
women
too,
want everything. Can't have it both ways. Look, he'll be. You knew who he was when you had a baby with him. You had two of them, so it ain't a surprise. Like, it is what it is.
I do love his transparency of saying, like, being a daddy ain't just about it being the gifts. You got to be there. And he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I could do that." But nonetheless, Lucille with the shots at him. Talk about you and your father covering the same cloth. Listen. No one's letting Lucille get a pass with anything she says in this episode because he started talking about, so we're not going to just pretend like you're not talking to Dr. Montclair.
Oh, man.
And of everybody that's been named, he's the only one who is not a part of this family at all. And then he said, "See, we're not so much different. We're not so different. You need to stay out of my business," which is completely hilarious.
No. It's hilarious the way Lucille said, "Hey, you need to stay out of my business." Nigga, you all in my business. You're telling me to stay out of your business? Like, talk about you with that old heifer and you got more of a family here. And he's like, "Damn it, I moved on. Like, can I move on? Ain't you moving on with Dr. Montclair?" Like, what is the difference here? Terry and Lucille are the same person. And that's what makes this scene hilarious.
Yeah.
Both of them are trying to move on from tragic relationships that they both think is over. And their partners won't allow them to move on.
Yeah.
LaWanda had a baby to keep Terry. Charles wrote a song to keep Lucille. Like, it's just the same thing. It's the same thing.
Oh, man. So get back to J-Pusha. The comment I made about Money Mook being 10 times worse, they got to pay him back and all the other stuff. Those folks tried to run in the house to try to get Carter back, but didn't get it done. So moving on from that, we go to school with Nicole and Breeze. A lot of Nicole and Breeze this episode, and Nicole gets to the school and she doesn't get through the metal detector because she has a box cutter which has her dad's name on it, even though Breeze tried to take the fall for her. We get this scene of Khalek, who we haven't seen in a while, because Khalek is going to be the runner that's going to get the product from Detroit to St. Louis. And I gotta tell you, man, this scene confused the hell out of me, because he gets a flat.
Part of it.
He's driving. He's driving his truck. He gets a flat. He loses control of his car. He crashes, an accident, and I think he died. But in case I don't know who this guy is, this is the person that that Detective Jen had she saved from the burning house, which is a vet. So there's that. I just don't get the whole car accident death thing, and I don't know. I don't know. And also, why him?
It was a voice in the background saying, "Hey, it's drugs in there." That was the funniest part. Like, what? Like, he just crashed into there, and somebody's like, "Hey, it's drugs in there." Like, that's what that was a takeaway. Not let's save his life. He crashed into a house. It's drugs in there. Like, that was hilarious, Joe.
Yeah, AOV, I don't know if he died, but I mean, it's still overly dramatic that, like,
completely.
I mean, I don't have any comments on that. We're just gonna let that scene pass. But anyway, the first attempt of the product getting from Detroit to St. Louis has failed. But listen, if this person dies, right, that just becomes another bit of emotional stress on Detective Jen.
Yes.
So, like, please make this all make sense, because we're not just going to forget, like, they had that moment back in the last season. So I don't know. It's a throwaway for whatever reason, but we'll continue on there. So we get Markeisha, who's in the house looking through Terry's stuff, and talks about how she wants to be the bigger woman and get a gift for LaWanda and helping T be rational about the things he needs to do. This conversation did nothing for me besides Markeisha just being a little bit devious, if you ask me, and trying to figure out what he's doing for LaWanda. But I guess it pays off later on in the episode. We'll talk about that in a minute. They get the call about Khalek truck being crashed, or that the product's not going to get there. Nicole is in the principal's office, or prison, wherever you want to call it. The principal's office, because of the box cutter that she took to school for protection. Nicole getting ready to bring that dinner scene back up, because she has said that, like, none of y'all have listened to me. She pleads about y'all never had to see somebody die in front of you all. This is the trauma. Charles throws in that line about there's no secrets in the family. Where did she get it from? Why she has it, and so on. But nonetheless, Nicole is just really hitting her breaking point about not being seen or heard in this household. And we'll see if and how they remedy that going forward.
Nicole is turning into Tariq. I'm sick of her shit.
Way better than Raina.
You know what? Fuck you.
Who is Raina, by the way?
The best kid on Power next to Yaz.
Never.
That's who Raina is.
Tariq only has one sister.
No, Raina, that's the kid. That includes Cash too. All them niggas that no one cares about.
Honestly, Raina is the equivalent to Terry and his kids, where he'll forget that he has two at times, because James St. Patrick and Tasha and everybody else forgot that there was not just Tariq.
Nope. James didn't. Raina got a whole project named after her. The Queen Cell Project. Stop it. You better stop it. Raina got a whole project named after her, Joe.
And Ghost being as selfish as he is, that had nothing to do with Raina at all. That was him trying to get himself into a political office by trying to dedicate it after his daughter that no one knew he had.
Oh man. But Nicole here again, this whole thing about one. I remember the 90s. I don't remember bringing box cutters to school, like being this dramatic. But certain neighborhoods, I'm guessing, is different than others. But it's her still trying to say, "I need to be heard." But in turn, like, you hadn't called from the doctor. You just had a conversation with your mama. Bring it up then. Don't try to use her as an excuse for you up here, you're running around being fast with this little boy. He's talking about he gonna teach you how to play with a joystick. We knew what that meant.
He did say that.
Yeah.
He wild. He definitely wild for that. Trying to put his what's the word I'm looking for here? What's the word they say? Nah, I wasn't gonna go there. But trying to impose on this Christian family with his devil antics.
Well, Charles did fuck Mabel against the wall, so it's not that much of a Christian family at this point.
Moving on, we go to the bar. We see Bryant and Jen, and talks about, this is an interesting conversation that I think we'll talk about a lot more next week. But Jen lets Bryant know that she's been suspended after naming Henry, and she continues to say, "I went to do some digging, realizing that Blaze passed, and wonder if Gar is in his pocket." Bryant letting him know that after he left the police force, he went and got into politics, so he's protected by the law on both sides. What's also interesting here is that with that, because while he said that, like, in the sense of Gar being aware that Henry and being aware of Blaze, and this is why she might have got released because of what that could cause. But why isn't the same energy for Kobe and her father in the politics?
Who's more powerful?
There's a political warfare involved here that they will have to explain more about Kobe's father, family, and how that and Blaze and all that go together. And Gar, it's a lot on that aspect, I think, to come. We'll leave that there because I think we could probably spend another 10 minutes just elaborating on it.
Just trying to decipher that, but there's no need to yet because it's going to expose itself.
Yeah. But she did say when she arrests Henry, she's going to use Kobe's cuffs. I thought that was a dope little moment or
unnecessary. Unnecessary.
Really?
Unnecessary.
Really? That seems right up Jen's alley to say, like, because I lost my sister.
Overly emotional for no reason. Overly emotional.
That's
why she burns her wrists. Like, that's unnecessary. To even bring up, like, I'm going to use Kobe's cuffs to, like, no. In the end, if you did what Kobe wanted,
Henry killed her. I think it's a nice touch for her.
If you did what Kobe wanted, you would arrest Bryant. Because she was very adamant that Bryant needed to be arrested.
But Kobe killed her, though. I mean,
that's when you put the
Henry killed her, though. Henry killed her, though.
Because of Bryant. We're not going to leave out that all of it happened because of Bryant.
I defer to the audience here. Did you like the touch of Detective Jen saying she's going to arrest Henry with Kobe Amberson's handcuffs? Do you think that was cool? Did you think it was corny? Or as Lucas said, was it just extra? That's why she burns herself. Jeez, dude. Jeez. So going on next now, we are back at the house once again. And corny. Meech letting them know that the product ain't come through, but it's okay. He got the call, and they're gonna make he has the backup plan for them coming. Terry and the crew. So this whole thing at one point wasn't evident, but obviously if you knew the face, you knew that Terry is trying to flip all of Henry's crew and her connections. This is basically I forget what you're calling it, but it's like smoking out of it's an analogy. I forget how it is. But anyway, she don't have nobody around her. That just makes her more vulnerable. And this is him letting them know that, like, I can whip the product up for you. I give it to you for free for now. I did love that they did attach to Terry that Terry doesn't do anything without a fee attached to it. Said if his mom was on fire, he would pay somebody. What did he say? Something about the water hose. But
how much would it cost to put her out, basically?
Yeah.
It's all about money. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the move with Henry is very simple here. If she can't pay back the people she owe money to, they'll kill her. Ain't got to kill her. It's about him like taking away all her business.
Yeah. But yeah, they say like, listen, either rock with us and get rich or continue to look over your shoulder. I mean, that's just truly what it is. Just no way you can not, make your money instead of having to worry about hothead wanting to either fight you or kill you or burn you, whatever's going to be, you know? So now they're back at the crib, and I'm sorry, they get to the little holdout spot where Carter was being held to see their man was dead, but Meech starts to formulate the plan even more. He sees the carryout box and he figures something with it. Listen, I don't even want to spend time on this, but like when he's looking at the carryout box, I thought nothing. I don't know how it was then, but this is the carryout right now.
It must be
gotta
only
be
one carryout in St. Louis. Gotta be only one.
Yeah, gotta be.
How the fuck you figure that out?
Exactly.
And there's too many containers. Ain't that much shrimp fried rice in the world or egg foo young. We know the food that niggas eat.
Well, how hungry is he still going to be?
Young and beef and broccoli. That's it. That's the only three.
Unless this was a measure of them saying, I guess, to try to make sense that like because they wasn't able to eat their food, he figured they would go back to get more. So I don't know, but either way,
who eats at the same carryout repeatedly? And it ain't chicken and mumbo sauce. Like, fuck out of here. Like Chinese food? Nah.
Beats me, man. Beats me. But anyway, Meech lets them know, like, listen, I got a plan, but you can't tell J-Pusha. Let's get it. Let's put it in play. Markeisha showing up at LaWanda's house. This is completely hilarious that she knew where she lived, but it makes sense because Markeisha's looking all through Terry's stuff. So why wouldn't she? And
that's exactly right.
Yeah. But it's a peace offering. And then the women start to throw blows at each other. And I ain't going nowhere. I'm the better version of you. I'm the better version of you. I'm sorry, you're the cheap version of me. She pulls out the mink. I got a mink too. Mom Dukes over here like, oh, whoa, baby, don't
give up the mink now. Don't give up the mink now. What's wrong with you?
You gotta be so nice there. The mom looking for a handout per usual. But nonetheless, we see that basically that LaWanda and Markeisha are never ever going to be cordial at all.
Whose fault is this? Whose fault is it?
Terry's.
Between the women, it's got to be one of their fault.
Oh, Markeisha, you came to her house. Like that's just.
She came into the house as a peace offering.
Man, I don't think you go to nobody's house without some. You might need to read the room first before you pull up to somebody's house, man.
I think it was a nice gesture to say, hey, and it was a way for Markeisha to say, I'm gonna be here, you're gonna be here. Let's at least be cordial with one another. I think, and LaWanda is still stuck on Terry's her man, and that's the problem. You can't be stuck on he bought her a house. You got a Dodge Caravan. You still live with your mama. If you don't understand the hierarchy has changed, what did Rock say when he was pushing Black Adam? Like the hierarchy in DC has changed. The hierarchy in BMF has changed. Markeisha's clearly the one. But the point that she extended her hand, like, we just need to be calm with one another. We need to be cool. It's the difference between an older woman and a younger woman. That's all it is.
Yeah.
LaWanda was wrong. She should have accepted the gift and say, you're right.
Crazy.
We need to be friends because in the end, both of us going to be around. Like, ain't no need to be beefing. We should equally be mad at this nigga. Both of us should be mad at him.
Bro.
Why be mad at each other?
Fuck out of here, dog. You speaking. Anyway, no.
Went. I'm not saying the way.
You done wrote the most perfect lifetime novel of all time, A Christmas Story at that, because it's just that impossible.
I'll end it like this. This is just coming from a guy who watched his mama have his stepdaddy and his daddy live in the same house together. So peace can happen if the person who wants the peace makes it happen.
Yeah. Listen, she's married to Boone is absolutely makes her wrong all day, every day. But y'all let us know in the comments who was wrong here in this meetup between Markeisha and LaWanda as they were trying to establish a peace offering. Let me get through. I can't even believe we had so much to talk about this episode. I was like, we're gonna get done this in like 30 minutes, but that was a lot. So Meech, where are we at here? So Meech getting I was like, what's happening here? Yeah, so he's getting the product from homie from the PAs. The jump out boys are there, and things get crazy. But as they get through the checkpoint, they posted as baseball players, talking about the Cardinals training facility, had the baseball equipment in the back, gets to go Cardinals and go by. I know that seemed like a crazy scene of letting them get by, but man, I'm telling you, just let it go, because 9 times out of 10, that probably did happen for somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
And they decided to throw that in there because, you can relate on certain
black people look alike, including famous ones. Always remember that.
I'll give you that. And he also had a rich, expensive car, so it makes sense.
There you go. Makes sense. He was a baseball player.
Yeah. Now we go back to Detroit, and the police car is behind Markeisha, and it happens to be Vince, who is somebody that used to do security for Boone and also patrols that side of Detroit. And he gives her a ticket, but of course the ticket had her number in it. Nicole's at home washing dishes. Bree shows up, came to see her. And I cannot even believe that they threw in the slow music soundtrack here. Because I'm like, what are y'all about to do for these little kids? Like, don't y'all dare.
You better not. You better fucking not. Nicole, like the actress is over 18. Nicole is not. I don't want to see nothing romantic.
But
them little niggas better hold hands and keep it moving.
But they did swing it back in a way that made a lot of sense, because while we see Nicole sneak her little breezy in while she's washing the dishes and whatnot, and talk about, if my dad sees me, he'll punch me till the end of time or whatever. We see a scene get cut to Lucille and Dr. Montclair, who's doing it in the car, who she's talking about, like, listen, you making me feel like a schoolgirl again. And there's a lot of dirty talk going on. I'm not going to spend time on that. But what I picked up from this is that Nicole is right. They're not so different. They're both in their ways are.
Wait, no.
Let me finish. They're not so different in a sense of like mother, like daughter. I think in the idea of them pursuing the person that they like or whatever it may be, they'll go to any lengths to do so. They both are avoiding Charles, and they both I'm about to get on that comment right there. They both are avoiding Charles, and if it ain't just avoiding Charles for the sake of Charles and his authority or judgment, whatever it may be, it's nonetheless does prove that they are much alike when it comes down to their love interest. And I'm not saying that one's right or wrong. I'm just saying that in the pursuit of the person that they like, they're going to the lengths to get that. But listen, there's the real comment. Why are they in the car? Dr. Montclair is stacked with bread.
Well, no. Keep in mind though, they're not like in the car having sex. They're in there making out.
My man has an office. He has a hotel.
Wait.
He must have.
We ain't gonna act like we too damn good. Like, we ain't never been on no date, and like things get a little head and heavy when we kissing the shit in the car.
Who said they was going on a date? They weren't going on a date. They just linked up, man.
So you ain't never link up with nobody in the car?
Listen, I ain't Dr. Montclair. All right. And on top of that, too, there's a lot to make with that. First of all, he gave that donation to the church. That's the biggest indication of how much money he has. He has an office, which Lucille has no problem with going to, because she decided to leave Nicole's red dinner in order to go get some from her man. But the biggest thing to me is like,
room to make out in a car.
Listen.
Come on now. Come on,
you have to start to draw suspicion about Mr. Perfect here. Something seems a little fishy here with this.
You're trying to get a suspicion on them, and then instead they were just making out in the car. To playing, it wouldn't let me lay you down playing in the background. If it wasn't in my head. Like,
what? Out. Oh,
let me lay you down.
It was playing in your head.
In the back.
Hold on,
I thought it was playing in the back. I thought it was playing.
Did you just romanticize this scene?
I did in my head, because that's what I thought. That's what it was playing in my head when it was making.
Bro,
they were just making out. I don't think it was a situation of it being a full-blown sex scene. This is just them. She said it perfectly. You make me feel like a teenager again. This is what teenagers do. They make out in cars. They do things of this nature. I think it's just
I
still
ain't
getting that old.
saying I ain't saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that this ain't the math ain't mathing on this one. Something seems a little off
I
to
I
Mr.
make a pretty
Dr.
good
Montclair.
living, and I make out with people in cars.
Let me get your girlfriend's handle real quick. Let me see, because I don't think she's gonna like that comment. Actually, she will like that comment. Just just for,
She get a
for what
comment making out, and in the background, Erica Badu, other side of the game gonna be playing. Stop playing with me.
let me go to my phone real quick. Yeah, there she go. Yep, Marquita. I'll leave it there. Don't need people looking her up. Nah, seriously, we're just joking about somebody left a funny comment.
He asked,
What the videos?
What are we doing? I think he's saying, what are we doing? Meaning, what is this leading to? Like, he's giving Lucille the proper amount of time to decide what she wants to do. He doesn't want to pressure her into leaving Charles, but he's like, you have to decide what you want to do. Are we going to be together? Or is it like, are you going to string me along? Like, I need an answer here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Something just seems off, but I'll leave it at that. I won't dare too much, but something just seems off. Like things ain't adding up or progressing in the way I want. I thought the donation to the church. I thought like her being at the office. I thought there was a very persistent direction and trajectory that they were trying to like establish. And I can understand that Lucille may not truly know what and how she wants to do things, but I mean the car thing. I thought he would be continued to like show her the luxury of being with him. So the car thing seems a little.
No, I don't think. I don't
know.
think that's the part of it. Again, I think if they're in the office, they fucking. And Lucille know better. She like, nope, that's too much space. We get in this car, we have a conversation, we may make out a little bit, and then I got to go back because Lucille older, so she ain't tooting that joint up in nobody's car at this point. Like they're just being teenagers here, just making out, talking about how much they love and care for one another.
Yeah, I mean,
and they were on a date. I know they were.
Yeah,
they didn't just go to the car.
Comment. Yeah, I guess he still got her a steak and put her in the back seat.
Hey, my nigga.
But listen, man, listen. If you can do that as a doctor, then listen. I want to refer to this moment of this episode as anybody ever tries to play why the back seat is an appropriate place to do these things, because Dr. Montclair has provided a way.
Cool J made a song about it. Backseat of my Jeep. We can do a lot that we could. We gonna act like people ain't did a lot in the backseat of cars. We ain't gonna act like that ain't happened.
Hey, you funny as I know what.
Even older folks out this joint doing something in the back of that car. They may be playing Bobby Boo playing, but they doing something in the back of that car. So yeah, I love this scene for that reason, because of her saying it made me feel like a teenager again.
So we get Marquisha now. She had a bar. Vince rolls up. Terry rolls up. Terry puts his authority down and says, "You got to bounce." Marquisha, I don't even want to even spend too much time on this. We're almost at the end of this episode, but all I know is that this is Marquisha's way of trying to win Terry over by trying to make him jealous, realizing that, you know, she has options, so that he will lean more towards her side with things because he has options and whatnot. She also lets him see how wet she is, so that will convince him that he is the man. She's the woman of his dreams, I guess.
All I got from this scene is the cop Vince plays a character on the Tyler Perry show Sisters that I watch from time to time.
Yeah, and yeah, as I said earlier, he used to be Boone's security and he's a police. So
I think that's an interesting thing, because that could be a connection for Terry down the road.
True. Or does this somehow just goes back to Vince? I mean, to Boone?
I don't think so. I don't think Marquisha's going back that way. I think she needed attention. He gave her attention, but I think eventually she gonna flip him for Terry. Yeah, as a protector for Terry.
So Jen now shows up with Lenny to see Henry at Henry's little black market gambling spot. She's in a wig. Henry goes up, says, "I've never seen somebody like you before." There's a lot of funny puns and usage of gambling terms for everything. But as I mentioned earlier, Henry did peep on Jen's wrist that she does self-harm. I did enjoy the line of maybe I should gamble tonight. And Henry saying putting it all on black, but also understanding that there still is some tension within Henry's little space. As we see somebody mug her, somebody ain't fight no bitch, but it is what it is. And Jen keeps things calm so it doesn't get out of control. So this was an important thing because it seems like love or her love interest or lust, whatever it may be Henry's weakness. Because any other time she's disrespected, she's going to go after it. So I thought they had to show what can keep her under control throughout everything. But nonetheless, so we now see Meech running up to homie that had Carter held hostage. And all they do was they torture this guy. His finger, take some bats to the ribs. See that, man, we seen the beautiful sweet
Shawiti.
Yeah, just swinging that bat.
They don't tap in. She hit him with the bat.
Yep. Beautiful scene.
Wow. You're gonna really dwell on this, huh?
So what happened after this? I forgot. Oh, right. Yeah, so she swung it back a couple of times. That's pure acting.
I feel like that song, like I had a dream, should be playing that every time you think about Sweetie. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like she did, I understand.
Sweetie in the back.
She did better than Young Miami, so I give her credit for that.
Yeah.
Young Miami was horrible.
All right, we can continue. I have my moment. But nonetheless, though, Bryant's still at the bar. Let that be noted that Bryant has put in a nice little 12-hour shift at that bar. But to get there, and Jen shows up in a blonde, talk about blondes have more fun. But nonetheless, they used the intel about Henry loving pretty ladies. So she showed up, having a short fuse. So they're just putting together they're building a profile together about Henry and realizing that we have to do this undercover operation together. And that's what's plan's going to be. Carter's back home. Meech got the job done. Said we all did it together. Keeya, sweetie, who got the nickname of Slugger one way or another. Here's the thing: we learned one thing, that Keeya is smart. She's not just a part of the family. She's not really their brother, but she's not just somebody there. Somebody who had potential to play ball, somebody who's educated, both street smart and book smart, and sees things on both sides. So I'm definitely interested to see if this character is just going to be more than just a love interest to Meech, because they seem to be developing her to not just be a lady who needs a white knight, a savior of some sorts for her, because she seems to have some intelligence on her shoulder. And maybe she will be the direct person in St. Louis and not
J-Pusha.
hothead. Yeah. So
I love that she had books on the wall, and that meant that she was smart.
Yeah, because it does.
It's a bunch of dumb chicks with books on the wall.
Yeah, it does.
Swear. All of them got the same books too. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. A lot of Terry Woods books on the walls. Be careful. Elin Harris.
You made me forget. I was about to say something real quick too. And the comment somebody made that Meech won the family over. He runs that family by bringing Carter home.
Oh yeah.
I have to agree that definitely positions him in a way that will make him have a respectable place with that family. But also too, Jay had another spot for him and said, "Your family for life." So he's all good there. He gets a call from ATL with deputies, said the eggs are rotten. And they're talking about a shipment getting down there, I would assume. I know they were talking in code, but beyond them talking about the shipment getting there, I'm guessing there's some other issues that's going to be addressed back in Atlanta in a little bit. Meech and Keeya, they smash. As I mentioned, book smart, street smart. And he mentions he has to get back to Atlanta. Want to know how long she's going to be. Terry and Hoop talk about the good news that they got. Saying he got the last of Henry's clientele flipped, and now they're gonna they're soon to close this shop, and they're gonna have big box BMF, and they go back to Platinum Palace because Meech is already back there with the crew, and looks like we're going to have our next episode back there and see what's going on. ATL. Yeah, next week episode is Code Red. So, there's still a war that's going down there. A lot of different things we could expect. But
I think
we'll
to
see
keep all
what
this
happens.
pinpointed, they say that Glock runs everything now.
Yeah.
That was the key word when they say, Glock runs everything now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's Greenie? I ain't seen Greenie in God knows how long.
That's it.
Or Goldie. Where's Goldie?
Gone. She's grieving her sister. Let me get a few comments real quick that I thought was some very interesting comments. Yeah, this one right here. Meech already ran J-Pusha's household after saving a brother. Totally agree. Meech's kids might as well be a part of the Queen's Child's Project.
Clearly, because Meech ain't got no kids no more, Joe. They are never around. Never. We saw them one episode this season, Joe. He's like, I'll always take care of you. And then they disappeared again.
That's it.
They ain't no Raina.
They are. They are. That's why that comment is so great. KJW2 saying trauma in the 90s sucked. Yeah, they will look like bad parents in 2024, but there was no one went to therapy back then. I hate to say it. A lot of people don't go. A lot of people don't go to it now either. But
you got to go through it in the 90s to understand. But everything was trial and error with parents back then, Joe.
Yeah. If it ain't a tax write-off, he ain't with it. So
exactly.
With that being said, we are going to wrap up tonight's episode. We'll take a few more comments or questions right now. So if you got anything, let me know. Absolutely no problem, Joy, for the answering your question earlier. No problem at all. If anybody have any questions, let us know.
Yes.
Stern is babysitting. Hey, y'all too funny.
Hey, along with Yaz, he got Meech kids and Yaz because Big Mom ain't around no more.
Oh man, yeah, we'll hang out just a little bit longer if there's any questions. Lamar is strung out. He is strung out. Don't forget.
Part. We have not seen him at all this season.
Yeah, he's strung out. He's
like, pipe heads just don't go away.
This is the one.
B Mickey.
This is the one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely curious about the B Mickey situation too, but we'll see. Yes. Sweet November 79. Love this live. Can y'all do more? We will. We absolutely definitely will, we promise. Yeah. Because I don't want you yelling at us. We don't need that.
And Sweet November 79, she kicked up a lot of interesting jokes. I've been peeping your comments now. Like I've been peeping them jokes, Joe. Mm-hmm. She said Sweetie getting the Emmy this year. Like that be
she right. Nah, she right. That's a fact. And that ain't a prediction. That's a spoiler. AOV, great time with you two as always. Salute to you. Salute. Just in case, next week, we will be back to our regularly scheduled program of the episode, the recap releasing after the episode air, but we'll definitely squeeze in some more lives for you all. Yeah. Definitely won't be next week because we have some catching up on some other little projects, but we will definitely be having
maybe these last 2 episodes we'll try to do what we did for Power, which is our recap, and then do something about the 5 biggest topics. Something to just communicate with everybody. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
damn, Lamar's hanging out with Sam in Queens. Damn. Oh, that's funny. Funny.
Well, on that note, we'll stick a fork in it, folks. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with us tonight. Episode 8. We'll be back for you all with that recap and review after the episode airs on the STARZ app, which means that on BMF Fridays, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you'll see that video there for you all. You don't have to be looking like where are we at? Where is it at? We'll make sure it's there for you. But we appreciate you all tuning in for this one. See y'all back in just a few days.
I